Happy Wednesday, happy Wednesday, and welcome to another edition of the Dating Diaries. I am your host, Christal XO, and the other half of the Dating Diaries is, of course, my boy, Scorpio Moe. What's good?
About to say happy Wednesday. Happy Thursday, everyone.
It is Thursday. Oh man, I said happy Wednesday 3 times.
Woo.
Yikes.
It is.
Yikes. That just tells you guys how tired I am and what a long week this has been. That's all that does.
But we're here. We're here.
We are here. Man, first of all, you know what? I want to start this day off. I don't know if all of our viewers got the notice that we were coming on today, because hey Monique, hey, where's the juice? I had an event last night with Tashira Simmons that went great. But I just want to start by asking you, what the hell was your crush doing supposedly going into space? I said, you know what? I got a bone to pick with Mo, because I started to send you this Instagram meme I saw where this guy was like, "We don't believe you, Gail. We don't believe you went into space. Why was Gail in space? What made Gail qualified to go to space? What exactly did Gail hope to accomplish while in space? Why was Oprah so worried about Gail in space?" And so I just wanted to bring this to you, because this is the woman that you have put in front of us as your crush. And we have some questions. We want to know what's going on. What the hell's up with Gail?
Well, first, let me say, you put that in front of people.
No.
My crush was 15, 16 years ago. She didn't look like the version we see now. But
first of all, you said Gail can still get it.
Yeah, I'll still take it now.
Just stand by your woman, Mo. Don't you started out backpedaling already.
Oh no. I still take it down. But here's the thing. Now, because me and O don't really get along like that, Gail don't be telling me everything.
It feels like a Robin and Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown type situation.
Say what you want. Here's the thing. For right now, and I'm usually the other way around, but I'm gonna believe her until I see further evidence that they didn't go anywhere. Now,
why?
I seen the door incident. I get that somebody opened the door from the inside, and you can't do those in those capsules. I've heard it all. I've seen it. I've seen enough stuff. But I think she went. I think they wanted Oprah to do it, and then they knew she wasn't going to do it. So the next best thing is, if you can't get Oprah, you get Gail. And Gail to get the first interviews with Jeff Bezos, so on and so forth. That's just what it is. But I do think that you saw the nervous look on her face when she rang the bell, right?
We did. And did you see the way Gail was struggling to buckle herself in?
No, I didn't see that part.
Oh yeah, she was nervous, and she was trying to make sure that she was secured. She looked like a woman that may have changed her mind.
She's going in space. Hello.
Why?
We go on roller coasters, and they make sure we. Come on now.
No, I don't have any problem with her buckling herself in. She just looked like it. Just did not look like she was the right choice for that mission.
People do that on roller coasters. This is outer space.
Why was Gail in outer space, Mo?
Just had new experience to say she did something that other people probably didn't do. You could tell by the bang ring. Everybody else was ching-a-ling, ching-a-ling-a-ling-a-ling, and all the kind of bells, right? Gail was like saying prayers, and she was trying to console, get herself, because her family's watching. She was nervous, understandably so.
I understand. You know what? I want to say, first of all, Sugar Pie, get in the bed. If you're You guys, Sugar Pie doesn't give a crap about these babies, okay? She has abandoned the babies as today. She's over the baby. She's back. She's back as the mascot.
Yeah, on that dog if you don't watch them kids.
She don't care about them kids. You know, Sugar Pie said, I am free. She brought one of the puppies and just plopped him in the middle of the living room like, I'm over it. You sit here, girl. She's had a hard time. Yeah, I saw Gail, but I wanted to say this, and I said this, I talked about it on Fox. Stop now. I'm gonna put you down. I talked about it on Fox. She is wagging the tail again. She's back, guys. She looks like she's become a woman.
Hey, she done dropped that load. She back out in these streets.
But you know, for those of us that grew up in the 80s,
yeah.
And I know some of our chat has, we remember the Challenger. Remember when the Challenger went up?
Let me tell you something. I was in high school, supposed to be, we had to take a test, and I didn't have to go to school till like 11 o'clock. And I remember right before I walked off to school, I sat and watched it. And then I had to walk to school with that on my mind, seeing that.
Yeah.
I was
it was traumatizing. And I remember watching, I was in middle school, and I was like, we were heartbroken. And we watched, they had a special on Punky Brewster where they watched it. I was a big Punky Brewster fan.
Really?
Yeah, I was.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little kid. I mean, I might have not even, I probably been like 5th grade. But it was traumatizing, and they talked about it to help all the children get through it, you know? So I was just like, why are they going up? Why are we doing this again? What if something happens like happened before? That was very traumatizing.
Hey, that happened again in 03.
I don't keep up with I don't keep up with that stuff. I didn't know that happened. Hey, consumer. Oh, welcome back. Hey, Blondie, El Chapel. Welcome. You guys come on in. I'm asking Mo about his crush and why she took it upon herself to join Katy Perry in space. And then the thing about Gail, just because we're here.
Watch your mouth. Be careful.
The thing about Gail is when there's bad publicity, she keeps clapping back. Why would you tell Gail to be quiet? People are saying, several people have said, several celebrities and other influencers have said, it was a bit off color to spend millions of dollars on a 4 to 10 minute space ride when there are a lot of people who don't have food.
You blame that on Jeff. That's all Jeffrey did all that.
Well, I mean, Gail's going to shoulder a little of that, okay? Gail is a journalist, and she's going to shoulder a little of that blame. She knows better. And instead of saying, hey, DeQueezy, instead of saying she understood, Gail clapped back and said that if people really were there and saw what happened, they would have supported, and she couldn't believe that they were getting bad backlash. She's not very empathetic and in touch with the regular people, Mo.
Let me tell you something. Gail was trying to say suddenly that you broke Negroes mind your business. She was starting on all of us.
She was, and she was in her little tight blue suit. She looked cute in her little suit.
Government issue.
I figured you enjoyed the suit.
It was government issue. She had she had to wear what she had to wear.
Anyway, I just wonder how you felt about that. Yes, DeQueezy says Gail had the nerve to get mad at being called a writer. She is not an astronaut. Now, there was an astronaut there, Aisha Bowe, who I met at Disney when I went to Disney a couple of weeks ago, and she didn't get any publicity. The only publicity that had was Gail and Katy Perry.
That's why Gail came there to soak up the shot. When y'all going to get? If Oprah was there, Gail wouldn't have got nothing. That's just how it goes. It's the food chain. Sorry.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I want you to stand up for your woman and explain to us what the hell was going on.
Gail is bucket list stuff, and she just enjoying life. Y'all mind your business. That's what y'all need to do. Y'all worry about the wrong thing. Y'all need to be worried about what Wallow talking about, because that's some real stuff. Y'all worry about people going into outer space. If they didn't go, y'all focus on the wrong thing. That's your problem.
Oh, sugar pie.
If I was Gail, that's what I would have said. I would have told all y'all.
AM said you need to check your girl, Mo.
Listen, man. I say what I say, and then she answered the O. It is what it is.
Not y'all have a Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, and Robin. What was Robin's last name?
Givens.
No, Robin Givens is not that Robin. Robin Givens was the one that was with Mike Tyson.
Quivers? Who? I don't know. Who?
It's the Robin that was with Whitney Houston, her beard.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the other lady. Yeah. What about
anyway? You know what? But I have something to share with the XO family before we get into tonight's conversation, because we're going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about romance scams and how that happens, and then we also are going to touch a little bit on OWN's new show, Somebody's Son. Somebody's Son, which I have been excited to talk about. We watched the first episode. We're going to have to make Wednesdays our conversation about Somebody's Son. But Robin Crawford, thank you, DeQueasy. Robin Crawford. So Mo, Oprah, and Gail, I'm going to get somebody to create me a picture of you all like Bobby, Whitney, and Robin Crawford. That is going to be my goal for 2025. Yeah. Okay. My news. Sharing my news, which I called you. So it was a little scary. I have found my sister. I never knew. Well, let me say this. Okay. So you guys know I grew up. Well, I don't know if you know. I grew up. I'm from Ohio and then moved to Oklahoma. And I have a brother. My mom and dad had my brother and I. And my dad, as many dads, was a bit of a rolling stone. And so he and my mom could not make it. But when I was 12, I went to visit him. I went to Ohio to visit my grandmother and my family there, and I saw my dad. My dad had a girlfriend at the time, and the girlfriend, I remember meeting the girlfriend, as dads do. They like to introduce the kid to the girlfriend. And then I remember talking to him right after when I got ready to turn 13, and the girl was pregnant. I never heard anything else. He passed away. I didn't know what happened to the girlfriend, but I knew the girlfriend had a baby. And just a couple of days ago, one of my cousins reached out to me. One of my cousins in LA reached out to me and said that she had been contacted by a young lady that said she did an Ancestry.com, and she found that she was related to my cousin. I think there was like second or third generations out, but that she heard she had a sister named Christal and brother, my brother's name. And she asked, because she could, did she know us? And so my cousin reached out to me and was like, hey, what do you want to do? And I said, give her, my information. And so yesterday, right before my conversation with Tashira Simmons, I talked to my sister for the first time. So I want to share that with the family. And I will say, you encouraged me. So I called Mo. I talked to my husband. I called Mo because I know he had a similar situation. Because I was a little nervous because, it's a big age for me to, I knew that she was out there and I tried to find her years ago, but I didn't, I couldn't find, because I didn't know the lady's last name. I knew her mother's first name, but I didn't know her last name. My dad has passed on. My grandfather has passed on. And so I didn't have anything to go on. So I kind of just thought it was over and I really forgot about it. And so when this came up, it totally out of the blue, because I feel like when my dad died, it was early 2000s, because my first novel that came out in 2006 was about that. So I had put all that to rest. And then I get this call out of the blue, this text message at 3 a.m. about a sister, a little sister, because she's 13 years younger than me. And my husband said, you know, you should definitely talk to her. And Mo said, you know, something good could come out of that. And I took you guys' advice, and I talked to her, and we had a great conversation. She had a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions, but I just wanted to share that. Yeah.
I love it.
Oh, you found the effects again.
Well, this is the smaller one. I got a big one, but anyway, but yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to share that because I feel like, you know, people, all of us, obviously all of us with Ancestry.com, I didn't know that it was that exact.
Until you told me, I didn't know it was that exact.
Yeah, but I'm you know, I just thought, you know, if this could help somebody else make the decision to do that as well. I have not met her in person. She doesn't live in Georgia. She has children, but I definitely was open to talking to her. We've been texting back and forth, sharing a little bit, you know, of our lives. And I grew up always wishing I had a sister. So it does feel kind of strange to actually have a sister. Yeah.
Man, hey, man. Listen, man. Family's family, and, you know, at the end of the day, or who you related to, and it's good to hear just, you know, whether it's another side of the story or just how they feel or make the connection. It could be a one-time thing and that person just wanted to meet and need closure, or it could be a forever thing. You just never. Yeah. But it's good to reach out just to see where everybody's at with everything, and then you can just go from there.
Yeah, I think so. El Chapa asked, did she know about you? She knew about me. And it's interesting what you said about like just hearing the other side of the story. She did know about me and my brother, and she thought that we did not want to meet her, which is not the case at all. In fact, first thing I told her is I tried to find her. And I reached out to some Facebook groups asking, did anyone know my dad? And did anyone know a woman with the first name of her mom? But I mean, it was very common first name. So she didn't, you know, I didn't get any responses. So I had really just given up because I just felt like I didn't have enough information.
Wasn't time yet. That's all that was.
It wasn't time. Yeah. It's crazy. I did that when my dad passed away, you know, because I was like, well, let me try to find her. But yeah, I think it was positive. I definitely think it was positive, and I will definitely keep you guys posted. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about this channel is we get a chance to share. I get a chance to share some things about my real life, my dog having puppies and not taking care of them now. But yeah. And I have a little sister.
There you go.
Yep. Now you want to go take care of your puppies. No, lay down. No, not doing it. All right. So let's talk about, first of all, our question for today. And I really want the chat to chime in with us. I've been reading statistics about relationship scams. And the Sugar Pie's babies are in the playpen in another room. She has left them. She's over it. She brought the boy out to the middle of the living room, threw him on the ground, and would start pushing him like, get up. She's over it. But relationship scams, there's a lot of people that actually have dealt with this. Actually, I saw that in the last year, over 80,000 people have been victims of relationship or romance scams. And the average amount of money that is taken from someone in a romance scam is $2,500. That's the average. Now, there are a lot of people that have given, there's a lot of people that are on either sides of that. You know, obviously there's people that have given less, and then there's also people that heartbreakingly so have lost their entire retirements and their life savings investing in someone that doesn't exist. I have a friend, the reason I started going down this rabbit hole is because I have a friend whose mother was a victim of a romance scam. This man online told her that he was this big celebrity, this gospel celebrity, and she believed him. She thought she was really talking to him. You know, she wasn't really savvy on the internet, didn't understand that he could use someone's pictures and page. And yeah, it was really sad. Marriott says victims have been getting younger since the pandemic. And that's the information that I saw in this report, is that a lot of people think that the face of romance scams is, you know, the senior citizens, but that's not the truth. This, especially for the price point of around $2,500, it's a lot, you know, people a lot younger. The difference is a lot of times younger people don't feel comfortable sharing, you know, that they've gone through this. So they're not going to go on Dr. Phil. They're not going to go on, you know, one of these talk shows and talk about it. They're going to kind of put the loss behind them. But I wanted to talk about that and see if anyone could relate to that. In our dating disasters, deal breakers, and dilemmas, I wanted to ask everybody if you think that you have ever been on the other side of a potential romance scam, or have you been the culprit of a potential romance scam? And I'll just start with our good friend Scorpio Moe. Dating disaster with a romance scam, yay or nay?
Nay, but I remember years ago, maybe late 90s, mid 90s, watching, I think it was Dateline, and they had this thing on the Sweetheart Swindler.
I remember the Sweetheart Swindler.
And what this disgusting person would do was, he was of age of the women, maybe slightly younger, but still of age. But, you know, he kept himself up, he worked out, and it preyed on women on cruise ships and in retirement environments. Like they have assisted living for, not, you know, they live on their own, but it's just people that do a wellness check around the community.
Right.
You know, these people in their late 60s and up, right? And they qualified to live in these communities. And this idiot would just prey on, that was his thing, that and cruise ships. And it was sad to see, you know, and I think now when they get to the younger people, I think it's more of they prey on people with low self-esteem, possibly overweight, told non-attractive, so on and so forth. And they prey on that. And you get behind these profiles even. You know, and AI hasn't made it any better.
No, AI has actually made it, it's scary. It's scary for people because, did you guys watch G20? I watched that movie with, oh my gosh, I'm having a moment. I cannot remember the actress, Viola Davis. G20 with Viola Davis, definitely watched the movie. But in the movie, they are having these officials say certain words so that they can create AI versions of their voice talking. So I do want to say, in all the research that I did learn that there are people that are hacking into people pretending like they're calling you on a business call to record your voice. And so what you should do, just giving a tip, especially if you have an older family member or someone who's not really computer savvy, you should have a safety word. Because I know for me, if someone calls my mom sounding like my son, she's probably going to figure out how to get him the money, right? If someone calls me sounding like my daughter, I'm probably going to figure out how to get them the money. So make sure that you have a safety word so that whenever there's an emergency, because AI is only going to get more and more clever. And the more people are talking to their phones, talking to Siri, talking to AI chat, it's just going to make things a lot more sophisticated, and it's going to be difficult to tell what's real and what's not.
I'm glad you said that, because they're also doing it with the FaceTime. Like, all that is data.
Yeah.
So your image and all this stuff, that's what's scary about the iPhone especially.
It's very well, but the Android is the same beast. It's just different owners. But yeah, iPhone definitely, because I feel like, but it's the beginning, but it's really all the same beast, and it's like you said, it's data. Marriott gave us an example. She says, I think a guy was feeling me out for a scam. After one date, he was talking about big sums and asking me what if questions. He was super charming. I got suspicious and declined the second date. Good for you. It's scary out here. I will say, I will be honest. I feel like I got scammed, but it wasn't for $2,500. It was for $250. I had gone on a date with this guy years ago, and seemed like, a nice guy. It was in my, when I was trying to figure out what I wanted. And a lot of times I would try to make allowances. So he wasn't necessarily where I wanted a date, a significant other to be, but I was trying to give him a chance. He was working, but he was, trying to figure things out. And I helped him kind of put together a brochure for his business. And then he told me he was a single father. He had 2 sons. And I saw pictures of him with his sons. He said he had his kids, and that he didn't have any money for food for them while he had them. The mother, he had to give the mother child support, and he was left without food for the kids. And so he asked me, could I send him $250? Woo. And I'm not going to lie, guys. I feel like men, let me not say men, predators that are trying to take advantage of people know who to prey on. And they know what buzzwords to use. With me, because I was such a serious mom, and that meant everything to me. When I heard someone say that their kids, they didn't have anything for their kids, I sent him the money, right? And he was doing all this talking and everything. It sounded like he was seriously worried about his sons. And I sent him the money. Of course, he didn't ever pay it back. After I didn't get it back when he said, because he was like, I get paid Friday, so it was like loaned it to me for a week. The $250 was nothing to me at the time, so it wasn't a big deal. I loaned it to him, and I didn't get it back the following week. So then I started realizing, like, you just asked me for money, and I never really wanted to be that type of girl that would do that. So I asked him for it. He didn't give it to me, so I cut him off. I think one of my friends, sent him a threatening text. It was not Mo. One of my guy friends called and threatened him. He still didn't give me the money. And so this is the crazy part, though. Maybe 3 years later, he reached back out to me on a dating app and asked me out again. And I was like, you owe me $250. Like, how about you pay that first? The Negro blocked me, and I never heard from him again. So that created my my mindset. And I had a lot of bad dating chronicles, obviously, of never, ever, ever loaning a man money that was not my friend. Now, if it's someone I'm dating, I will not loan you money. But if you're my friend, that's fine. Because I know, friends are friends. I don't see gender when it comes to friends, but when it comes to dating, I do. But I also, I told myself, like, I'm a good person. And so I'm not going to beat myself up over loaning him, because he used his children. And that's a slimy person, right? But it's just the fact that he had the nerve to reach out again and ask. And when I told him, I said, you never pay me the money back. He was like, oh, my bad. I'm going to give it to you. And then he just blocked me. So that's the most I've been scammed.
See, the thing is, it's a little trickier with men, because we hear these stories often with women, especially when we're first meeting them.
Mm-hmm.
You hear, light bill, rent is late, with the, and as a man, if it was a shoe on the other foot, I'm surprised he wasn't even, well, he's paying child support to kids that he already has and all that kind of stuff. And I've heard those stories before. The courts are tricky with that. But when you're in a situation where somebody is in need of something And it's like that. And it's like, should you be dating at this point? Like, you probably got other things to focus on. You know,
Right.
you hear that from women, but sometimes hearing it from women as far as needing it, it's a little bit different. And it's like, well, damn, you don't want to come off like you don't got it, but then you feel like a suck if you give it. You don't really know her, you know, so on and so forth, and you just have to make a stance and a decision. But it happens more often than you think, and you know, like I said, I had a situation where they were way younger than me. I mean, not way younger, but just younger. I had some neighbors, and I was just cool with them because they were too young for me. Attractive women, they were just young in the world. And I sat there in their apartment, and one, you know, they were splitting the rent. I think the rent at that time might have been $1,200 or whatever it was between two people, which is $600. That ain't nothing, right? But she didn't want to pay the $600. She wanted to get her hair done. And I sat there and watched her call 5 guys and got her rent money out of 4. Now, if I was trying to get at her, she would have never let me see that. But being on some cool stuff, that's why I tell guys, like, be cool with women sometimes, man. Even if they're attractive, you're going to learn a lot about women being cool with some of them than trying to sleep with all of them, and they ain't not going to show you the other side.
Yeah.
So that, I was like, wow. I seen the at first, the second guy was like, I ain't got it. He kind of, I could tell by his attitude, he wasn't with it. But the other guys didn't know that they chipped in $600.
I'm like, she split that up a lot. That's a split up. Why she didn't get it from one dude?
I seen it with my own eyes and ears. I mean, she's on the phone with him, and I'm sitting on the couch, and she's on the other end of the couch, and she was like, watch this, and dialed one guy after the other and got her share of the rent because she wanted to buy hair.
You know what? That's interesting. I will say this: do we look at women that do that the same? The Dolly Alice says, "I'm in the middle of watching G20. Yes, it's called deep fake. I knew a celebrity who was scamming a fan out of money by lying about his life. Claimed he found out a child and the child's mother died. I've seen that. I've heard that. I mean, but to me, if you lie about something like that, that's so low." Love is Mimi says, my healthy 87-year-old father is being taken advantage of by a scammer my age, and because he appears to be in his right mind, I'm helpless to interfere. That's really sad.
Her up. I need to jump her.
Yeah, I need to jump. Yeah, for real, because that's what I was going to ask. Do we see it the same? Does society frame it the same if a woman is getting money from a man versus if a man is getting money from a woman?
I'm glad. Thank you for saying that.
What is all of this?
We laugh, and we see this stuff on social media that if a dude ain't doing this for me, that's a scam too. So how come we don't sensationalize that? You see what I'm saying? That's a scam. I don't know you. I don't know if I'm ever gonna see you again, but you want your nails and pay. And since the last time I paid for nails and for the feet, the manicure,
pedicure,
they don't went up.
Oh, they have, period. Yes.
Hey, you got to be damn near my wife for me to be doing stuff like that. I didn't know they went up that far. It's been a minute.
It's gone up. It has.
When I heard the prices, I had to renege. But anyway, I'm just saying. Listen.
It's gone are the days of, here you go, here's $50 to get your nails done. Sir, that is only going to get me some, as my girl says, some basic nails. That is going to give me a basic blush and just a manicure. I'm not getting no S&S, no, none of that with that $50.
Some people don't went up down the street. I can't do it no more.
I agree, Marriott. The guys heard to say, it is a scam. It is a scam. And I would say, Mimi, be careful and make sure that you document everything, because it could be that you just have to have everything documented. You may have to, move forward later and figure something out, because I've heard that a lot. Let me see here. Druzy says, that happened to my dad when he was in his 80s, some younger woman in her 40s. My
Ah,
sister and I hemmed her up real quick. Daddy was mad, but he got over it. There you go. There you go. There you go. Let me tell you something. We were at Disney. You know when a black person is telling a story. So let me tell you something. I just caught myself. Let me tell y'all something. When I was at Disney, one of my friends said that their father was engaged, and he was like, I believe in his 80s. And he bought the woman a ring to propose. According to her, she hit the ring and the diamond came out. And she wanted another engagement ring. Now, he had spent 5 bands on that ring. And she was like, I don't think she lost that ring. I think she went and got the money for it. And now she wants another ring. And I was like, really? I was like, yeah. What woman loses a diamond in her ring? And if you did, let's just say you did lose the diamond, you're not going to demand that he get you another diamond ring for the same amount. That's crazy.
That's a great point. That's a great point. Even though it's certain jewelry that you should get insured, and those type of rings, absolutely. But if you don't, I agree with you, and I also agree. Me and you had conversations years ago about this. Introduce your significant other to the opposite sex that loves you, and let them see how serious, how they care about you. Because they're less likely to try when they know someone has your back, especially when it's the opposite sex, because they know the opposite sex a lot of times can see through things.
Yeah, because women can see through women and men can see through men. And I know for sure, hey, every single time I have met a girl that I tell one of my guy friends, present company included, that it's no good, I'll be right. Because I can see through it.
It is what it is.
And vice versa. But let's ask this question before we move on to the somebody's son. What are some ways that we can make sure that we're not we can make sure that we're not like, prone to be scammed, like when dating, because it's almost like if you put up so many guards, you can keep good people from getting in. Like, I will tell you guys another story. I had a situation where when I first met Adrian, there were other guys that I was like dating or considering dating, and kind of have been in that talking stage for a while. And one of the guys called me. He was out of town, and his credit card got frozen. I am yawning for some reason. His credit card got frozen. And so he called me and he was like, hey, I think it wasn't a large amount. It might've been like $100. And he asked me, could I cash app it to him? And then he would send it back to me. Now, he and I had been talking for a while. I knew him really well. We had met. And what I did is I sent it to him, but I immediately put him in the friend zone. That friend zoned him. So as there was a process of elimination when I was dating Adrian, and that friend zoned that person. But he gave me the money back within like 2 days later, as soon as he got back to town. His credit cards really were frozen because he had went out of town. He was at the airport trying to get back on the plane. And I think he was trying to get his bag. So it's like, your bag's like $50. But I friend zoned him because I was like, my rule is, I didn't tell him, but my rule now is, if I'm considering you as someone I would date, I'm not giving you money. So if I give you money, then you're now a friend. And so that's what happened. And I think it obviously was the right choice. But that's the only time. And he did, like I said, he did immediately give it back. I didn't have to ask. He appreciated it so much.
Can I say this?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a man, like for me, for instance, I got male friends that I could call before I call any female.
Right.
Asking of what, like, I got male friends that I could call. So,
mm-hmm.
And it, you know, I don't know if he exhausted all his male friends and they ain't have it, but that's even a red flag. You ain't, none of your male friends have. If I need $500 right now, I could call 5 male friends and get $100 from each one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I can. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But the fact that, like, I don't know if that says something about that man's man circle.
It could, or maybe I'm a guy friend. I figure either way, I am now a guy friend, right? I mean, he was very appreciative. I think it made us friends for life. He was like, "Wow, Chris, like most people wouldn't have done that. I called you, didn't hesitate. $50 again, not a big deal." And he immediately paid it back. But like I said, and the relationship wasn't supposed to be anyway. But I think, you know, something I think Druzy said earlier is I never would loan anybody what I couldn't afford to lose, right? So it's like, if I don't get that $50 back, it's okay. That was the cost of that friendship, right? But you know, he did pay back, but it made me look at him different. The fact that you would even feel comfortable calling me. I don't know why he didn't ask a guy friend, but I do think sometimes men don't want other men to know that they don't have it. Maybe I don't know, but I feel like I am a guy friend at that point. You know,
but you would rather let a woman know. So message all the fellas. Don't nothing dry up vagina faster than asking a woman for some money.
But you know what? Obviously, a lot of guys don't think that because there are a lot of guys that will. It just depends on the type of woman.
Well, that shows you the type of guy that you are dealing with.
Absolutely, and that's why they should be kicked to the curb.
It's not that you don't. Anybody could need money at any time. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's no male friends that you could call first before you call this lady who you're trying to be with, and now you got to risk this embarrassment and so on and so forth. Like if that's you, that's something different. But I don't know. It just says something about your male circle, and it says something about you that you have to rely on women first. I don't know about that. That's a little weird.
Well, I think it was the right decision. And yeah.
No, definitely, you know, I get it.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Druzy, good job, you and your sister making sure that you protect your dad. Because I'm not like my mom is not in any danger. I was talking to her about this earlier. She is obviously not in any danger. Because she's not romance scam prone at all. She's not going to give anybody anything. But and she's definitely not even trying to hear all of the. Because sometimes the people that scam, I do feel like, even though I hate this, I do agree with you as far as like they pick on people with low self-esteem, because you got to know that some of the things that these guys tell women, or even the things that women tell men, it's so far-fetched. It's so far-fetched. Like women get to blowing up that ego and telling you everything you always wished you wanted to hear, but no woman would say. Any woman that's stroking your ego that much is probably trying to get some money out of you. And the same thing with a man and a woman. I've seen some of these women, and then you look and like, you know good and well, that man in that picture.
If I gave it to you, I was giving it away. I didn't care either way. That's how I'm moving. If I gave it to you, I didn't care if I just gave it to you. And without even, 40, 50, little.
Well, does she have to pay it back?
The little money?
Yeah.
Did you say? If you said you're going to pay it back, then I'm waiting to see if you're going to pay it back. But if you say, I need, and you never talked about paying it back, and it's 20, 30, anywhere between under 100, I'm not tripping. But if you say it, I'm waiting to see, because at that point it's principle. When you said it, I didn't say it.
Well, I would say this. If I ask a guy for anything under 100, which I probably wouldn't, I have not. But if I did, and then I said, this is how I want it to go in order for us to keep dating. If I ask you for it, you tell me I'm going to send it to you, and then you immediately should say you don't have to pay it back. But if I say $75, I'm going to pay you back on Tuesday, and you say, okay, I'm not talking to you no more.
That's nasty work. You said it, pay it back up. Nah, don't do that. That's wrong.
I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And I tell you what, I had asked a guy one time to help me move.
Just because you're a man, that's messed up.
Well, no, it's because you're a man that you're trying to date me, and you should not make me pay it back.
What does that got to do with your help? Why are you even asking me if that's the case? If
because I need some help.
Why are you even asking me?
I need some help.
You ain't got friends, or maybe you shouldn't be dating.
Well, my friends would tell me, we tell women the opposite. You need to ask the guy that you're dating for money. Not us.
Now, if this is the guy that you're sleeping with, that's different. But we ain't slept together.
Tomato. If you want to sleep with me, how about that?
Oh, so now we paying to play. Is that
no. You guys always take it there. No, but if that's what you want to do, then you should not be charging me back no $75. I told this one guy, I asked him to help me move. And I said, I can give you a couple of dollars. And he said, okay. I was disgusted.
After we slept, I get it. Before we slept, I'm gonna need my money by Monday.
we had been together prior, but I had asked him, and you know how you have that old faithful? And this Negro said, okay. I was like, I ain't giving you that money.
We re-up every 30 days. If I ain't slept with you in 30 days, I'm gonna need my money by Monday.
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna need my money by Monday.
That's not the rules. That is not it.
If we slept together 5 years ago, one time, and
I have a pass.
And I want, man, listen, hey, man, rules. You found out me through your whole Rolodex. You got to me, and you tried to have
He was a good mover. He was strong.
Well, you should have held on to him. Why did you take
I can't believe that Negro told me that. He said, okay. I was like, okay.
You set yourself up. If you said
because I know that you're supposed to say you ain't got to do that. At the point you say, okay, we got a problem, sir.
Nah, I'm saying
you'll never get next to this again.
Nah.
I'm not giving you any money once we've been intimate. Not doing it.
That's all more reason to do it.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. Not being scammed, Mo. He was trying to scam me by moving my furniture.
Now, when you move furniture, usually women pay men in food.
Yeah.
Tell me how it go.
Yeah, yeah.
Pizza.
They do. Or just flirt or flirting. Just a lot of flirting during the move.
Don't get it. Pizza and beer. We need something. Talking ain't gonna get it.
I mentioned paying it back because I want to look like the bigger person. And then I want them to immediately say, you ain't got to pay it back.
Joke's on you, Jack.
It was that time, but I didn't use him. I was like, I'll find somebody else who's going to move me without saying, okay. Tell me right there, you ain't got to do that. No.
Okay, see, fellas, that's what it is. In their lineup of dudes, it's the food dude, it's the dude with the truck. In case
no, it's not that deep. I needed to move.
Whatever.
Actually, I needed a dresser.
And did he not have a truck? Why did you call him to move if he didn't have a truck?
Anyway, that is also why, before we move on from this point, that pastor that I went out with that asked me for the love offering, that sent me that charity request,
right,
texted to me. I was like, nah, bruh. Nah, I don't give money to men that I'm dating.
Now, I feel
the fact that you sent me a random text that you've sent all your parishioners asking for food, no, not doing it.
He forgot. That's all. He could have got out of that one.
No, he could not have got out of that one. That was dirty work. That was nasty work. You don't ask me for money on a Saturday to feed the hungry. I've already chipped in because we went on a date the night before.
But like, I am the hungry nigga. Why you got?
You don't ask or pretend. He told me that I could be an amazing first lady, which I agree. But
I would have loved it. First of all, let's stop there. I would have loved to see that.
I would have been a great first lady, first of all.
No, you wouldn't.
Why would you say that?
Oh God, you know what? That would be pure comedy.
I would be an amazing first lady.
I would. Oh, I might pay money to see that.
Why?
Just don't believe it.
Why? I think that you guys let me know in the chat if you think I'd be a good first lady. I think I'd be a great first lady.
Oh, they don't know you like I know you.
Now you gotta clean that up because that is gonna make it sound like I'm a bad person.
No, it's not necessarily bad. It's just that I just that Christal has a sense of humor. Like she doesn't really display it as much on this show.
And I wouldn't display it in the church either.
No, but on the phone with me, you would. I would go to church just to see what you're talking.
Anyway, I would have been an amazing first lady, but he did not have the appropriate church.
Okay.
And if you're trying to make me first lady, don't ask me for tithes and offerings.
I know that's right. I feel you.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly, Dolly. I would live for the moment to be in the church hat, the glove, sitting on the front pew.
Wait, Christal will be tied in 90 days. Trust me.
I'll be what?
Christal will be sick over in 90 days. I'm telling you right now. First of all, she'd be the first lady that wouldn't be on time. Let's get that out the way.
First of all, you have got to stop plaguing me with this lie.
Let's get that.
Not being on time. I would be on time. I am on time. You are early.
And have y'all ever seen Christal in a hat? Yeah, y'all believe her if y'all want to believe her.
I wear hats. I go to the Derby.
Christal, that's the only.
And when I go to church on Sunday, I've been known, and you have to be a certain age to wear a hat, and I've just got to that age. Gun boss.
Let me see your hat arsenal. Let me see.
I have a hat. Oh, I have a hat arsenal. I'll bring it next week.
Bring it. No, arsenal.
No, I'll bring the arsenal. I know arsenal is plural. Don't try me. I know I will bring the entire arsenal next week.
Okay.
I do have an arsenal of hats because I go to a lot of Derby-like events.
You're gonna bring
and tea. I do high tea a lot.
You're gonna bring the 10.
Of course I had an Easter hat. Easter hats are everything. Not she wore a beret on here once. You know what? I had a fedora on here too.
I must have missed that episode.
I have had a fascinator, Edna. Thank you. Yes. Yeah, all right. Let's get to this somebody's son. First of all, I have been to a bell brunch. First of all, guys, I want in the chat, give us a X if you are feeling this idea of somebody's son with this first duo of the football player and his auntie. If you think this is a good idea, put an X in the chat. If you think this is not going to work, put a O. If you think it's going to work, put an X. If you think it is not going to work, put an O. Mo, you're putting an X?
Yep, I put one in the chat and one up here so you can see. I dug it. I did see the show, and I was for it. I ain't going to hold you.
All right, I'm putting an X. I'm putting an X as well. Okay.
Damn.
X if you think it's going to work. O if you do not. Now, I do want to also say, I don't think that it's going to compete with Ready to Love.
No. It's not one of those shows.
And I also don't think it's going to compete with the Never Ever Mets because we are in for foolishness and folly with the Never Ever Mets. I think it's going to be a low key, a light kiki. It's a light kiki. It's not like...
It'll get us over the hump.
It'll get us over the hump until they give us Ready to Love back.
That part.
All right, so let's get into... Okay, Marriott says women competing for men is not it. You know what? Okay, and there are quite a few O's in the chat.
I see it. It's a lot. It's only an episode, y'all. Damn.
It's the first episode. I will say, I do say this. I've seen the second episode that's going to air this Saturday. I like this Bachelor and his mom. I like this Bachelor better. The second one than the first.
Than Joshua.
Yes, I like him better. I am a little concerned about the first Bachelor.
I am too, and I tell you about that. We're gonna get to that. I don't know, but I don't know if it's the same thing that I saw.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Because you saw you Mo text me. Okay, this is why I didn't find him to be genuine.
Like how?
I didn't find Joshua to be genuine. I feel like he is trying to play the field. This is a great opportunity. I feel like his aunt is full of drama and theater, and which I feel like she's going to be funny, but I just don't feel like he's serious because, like, he talked about being a player. This show is somebody's son. He talked about being a player, and even though he said he's coming on the show, he didn't really give me the vibes of him really wanting to be serious with the ladies at all. I just don't. Yeah, as a football player, he's okay looking. He not great to me. He was okay. And it's kind of hard because they're young. They're like around my son's age, so I'm not really trying to like be all on them like that. But he was okay looking. But next week we meet another son and his mom. Now, they're not in the same house. So for those of you that don't watch, the son is in the house with the mom, or in this case, his aunt. And then they bring in 3 young ladies. He's a free agent. He does not have a home, which is why he is free to film. So the women move in, and they basically compete for him with his aunt giving her opinion. Scorpio Moe.
Yes.
Your thoughts on our good friend Joshua?
Joshua, young brother, had a choice between, well, he was introduced to 4 women.
Yes.
Lexi,
Martha.
Shambella, which I can't stand that name. Let's get to that. 32, Lexi 30, Martha 26, and how you say this woman's name?
Tamaris.
Tamaris is 29, right?
Yes.
You know, he's introduced, he opens the door, he's introduced, and mind you, I forgot why his mother isn't there. I don't know if she passed.
Well, his aunt was his primary caregiver. Yeah, she raised him.
And let me say this about her, and I don't know if I'm right. I just have the sneaky suspicion the aunt is bleached.
Oh.
Which is a popular thing in Africa.
It is a popular thing. And there are a lot of people speaking about that have come out and spoken about it recently. Tamaris.
That's what I picked up. And I picked up for several reasons. But that's what I got. So off the top, that's the first thing I kind of picked up on. Don't know if it's true or not. I'm just saying.
That's interesting because I picked up that she was going to give us a lot of drama, but I didn't even pay attention. Okay, Mo, paying attention to the.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's the first thing that kind of caught my eye. The second thing that caught my eye, just to be honest, was his mannerisms. Right.
You said that. Okay.
His mannerisms weren't very masculine, right? And then you kind of chalk it up, well, maybe it wasn't no dad around, kind of, sort of. But then the other thing that kind of caught my eye was the jewelry. And when I say it's nothing wrong with a man wearing jewelry, I wear jewelry. But the piercings and the placings and the certain jewelry he had kind of like stuck out. You know, where he wore the rings on his finger,
Mm.
The piercings that he had in his ears, the 3 in one ear, and I think the 2 in the other with the small
Yeah.
hoop, the long one, not masculine jewelry at all. I hate the word jewelry, so I always try to make sure I pronounce jewelry. It kind of, between that and the mannerisms, it gave me LBC vibes. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Well, I played the music. For those of you that know how we do, Britt's husband, girl. Tune in on Monday. We're gonna get him more into that. I'm over that. But yes, okay. I'm gonna give it another episode. I get what you're saying, but I also think that this is a different, like, generation. And I think, like, the eclectic, like, guys trying to be a little eclectic. And then I'm also going to give it a cultural pass, what I called it.
Okay.
Because with him having African ancestry, I don't know if maybe some of that flamboyance is, I don't know. I just gave him a pass for this first one. I didn't necessarily see the mannerisms. I did see the jewelry. It was a lot for me, but I was like, this generation, like, we talked about this, our kids' generation is very, very different in how they express themselves. He's not a dandy. I don't think so, but I do see what Mo is saying. If he was in his 40s, I would be like, yes.
I'm glad you said that, because even my daddy's generation with the 2 earrings, man, my uncles and them lost their mind.
Yeah. Yeah, every generation is different.
So I'm giving it, but as far as that being culturally, if he had a bone in his earring, it'd be something different because he's from Africa.
No, but I mean just the jewelry, because sometimes, let me say this in the nicest way, in the most, I don't want no trouble, okay? I think that sometimes the way we approach jewelry is different between Africans and African Americans. There can be more, like, we just like what makes sense, and what's gaudy is considered different, right? So I think, because even with the girls, I'll be like, that's a lot, but they may not think it's a lot. Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's a different style, different aesthetic. So I'm going to say, we got to wait to see. And I also have another point. The reason that I don't think that is because usually we've seen some men in the past, which is why we have the music on standby. We've seen some men in the past that have been possibly covert members of the LBC, but usually they are over the top trying to prove they want to be with a woman. He comes off as a player to me, which is not usually what they do. They do, like,
you got player vibes?
I got player vibes. Want to be a player vibes. Yeah.
Maybe want to be, but I didn't get player vibes. Okay.
Well, no, I got want to be a player vibes. Not serious. Unserious at its worst. Not ready to settle down. I think he wanted to get on this show to boost
his profile.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't buy that he's serious at all. I don't buy that his Oma is serious at all.
Yeah, I can see that. I think the mother wasn't for the shenanigans, but the aunt was.
The aunt is for all of the shenanigans.
And she was like, I'll do it.
All right, let's talk about okay, the Dalai Lama has a good some good information. She says, or a good opinion. I agree with Mo, absolutely. Like, I'm 99.9% sure he is doing this for his mother, not because he is into it. No, he's masculine one for the other team. Okay.
That's what like I said, I don't know, but that was the energy I got off this first.
You did say that from the jump. And I didn't, because I was trying to think. Again, this generation throws me off, because a lot of things that our generation sees as effeminate are not for this generation, especially with, like, mannerisms.
Now, if I just saw one and not the other, but I'm combining it, that's what made me. It was the rolling, the eyes, and the,
Yeah.
it was like a mother acting with, it was like a mother and daughter opposed to, I don't know, it was just, I never seen a dude, it was, the mannerisms was just a little much. It wasn't over the top,
Yeah.
and that was like, that's odd.
But it's funny because I just had I was having a conversation with a guy on a show that's being filmed here, and I was having a conversation with him and how he was acting.
Yeah.
I was so concerned. But he was definitely not on the other team. And it was just, but his girl was there and they were just, I was like, they just, it's different. They communicate different. But I saw what you said. I just don't know.
Yeah, I ain't signing on it, but that's the feeling, the energy I got.
No, I got you. Let's talk about the young ladies.
Please, let's do it. I took notes.
All right. Delve into it. First, let me see. I have these names here. So first let's do Lexi first. And she is a tech marketing manager.
30 years old, 2 daughters, 2 kids. Lexi. Lexi would have been a no for me.
Me too.
I'm surprised the aunt kept her, just to be real. I'm a little surprised that the aunt kept, and it wasn't even, it was the 2 kids plus kind of like the attitudes. It had like she was looking more for a father than a man. To me.
I feel like she was looking for some security.
That part.
And I'm just like that. I feel like this, I could, a lot of people probably will not agree with me. But I don't feel like coming on this show with 2 children, it's gonna be a rough sell for a mom. Like, yeah. It's gonna be a rough sell for one is a lot, but 2, that's a rough sell.
Woo.
And Marriott says she was competing with the other ladies. I'm sure she knew that. I'm sure she felt that energy because women know.
Yeah, you saw when the other young lady said she had no kids, and then you saw her face, and she had to say what she had to say. I mean, they know what it is. Because if it was vice versa and she didn't have any kids, men know how women would feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Favorite T says Lexi has jealousy issues, and she needs to know that not everyone wants to date women with children. I agree 100%. I agree, especially like in this format. Like, I remember dating a football player, and we stopped dating because I was not willing to just jump on a plane and leave my kids. It's a different lifestyle. You know what I mean? So it'd be, to me, if it was a more mature guy that I thought was serious, but still, anytime you're coming with a mom or an aunt or something like that, it's going to be rough. That's going to be rough with 2 kids.
Right. I mean, if you're competing against other women with other kids, then that's different. If you're competing with, even if they just got 1.
Yeah.
2 to nothing.
2 is a lot.
2 to nothing is bad.
Yeah. I agree. I think that she's going to be the next to go. I was surprised that she stayed, but I definitely think that she's next.
Yeah, I believe so.
And it could just be that they kept her because they don't want to say it was the kids. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
There's that too.
I got you.
Yeah. Ari Bradley says Lexi is fine. She is used to getting who she wants.
She's not that fine. Yeah, I mean, she's cool. She all right. But, I mean, when you see the other stuff in the room and then you add that, it's like, okay, you get over fine kind of quick. More than 2 kids quick. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, if everybody comes to the table, fine. I saw this on one of tonight's conversation. They were saying like, okay, well, if a guy doesn't want to date a woman with kids, he could be missing out. And then they were like, well, what if 2 girls show up and they both have amazing qualities, but one has children and one doesn't. And I do think this, at the end of this, I think it's a lesson. As women, we need to teach our daughters to be a lot more careful, and you should not be having children with someone that you're not married to, just quite honestly. Because it will make it more difficult. Like if we taught our young women how to be wives and to be prepared to be a wife, it is true that there are people that are open to dating women with children, but at the end of the day, you can make a choice. You can make a choice, and we need to stop laying down with people that have not claimed us.
But 9 times out of 10, that's got to be coming from a wife.
Yeah, that could be true.
You see what I'm saying? But and then the other thing is like, it's why doesn't she? It's depending on her age, because she might not have children because she doesn't ever want children. So,
but these are young women. So these are young women.
So somebody right now, 52 years old, that never wanted kids.
I know lots of people that didn't want to, but I'm saying when you're in your 30s, 20s or 30s, you have the option. So you can say, I don't want them right now. You can say, I never want them. And then later be like, oh, okay, I do. But once you get to a different age, you kind of stuck, right?
But if you're a man and you're 30 and you say, and she's 30 or 32, whatever it is, these ages I'm looking at, because Lexi's 30 with 2 kids, and then you meet another woman that's 32 and don't ever want to have kids. Now you're in the dilemma. It's like, look, Lexi might want another one, and she got 2 girls. Maybe she wants a boy. I'm dealing with someone, or I have the option to deal with someone that doesn't want any. So now, what do you do?
Well, that's true. That's true, because I agree with DeQueezy. My son has no children. He's not going to marry a girl with children. Absolutely not. My son has no children and doesn't want children. So, and it does not. And he said if he met a girl that wanted children, he would break up with her. Now he's a teacher.
You know what I'm saying?
He likes mentoring children, but he does not want children of his own. I don't like that, and I'm hoping we can move past that. But anyway, some women and men have children from divorce. True, I did that, but I also am big enough to know, mature enough to know at the time that when I did meet men that didn't want to date women with children, that was their prerogative. That was that's their preference, and that's fine. Because I will be honest, it is a lot taking on someone's children. Marrying, not dating someone that has children, but if you're talking about marrying someone that has children, that's a big lift. It's a big lift. Okay, go to the next one, Mo. Plenty of fish in the sea. Can we go to Martha?
Let's go to Martha. Martha, 26 years old, nurse. Here's the thing. Upon seeing her, right when he saw her, he hugged Martha twice. I counted. He wanted another hug before.
He did. You can tell. Let me tell you something. With guys, you can tell when the pupil dilates. You can almost see the dilation of the attraction. It's instinctive. You cannot hide it. Even if you're trying to be polite to all the girls, which I think the guys are, it's just instinct. You can't fight it. That name is one of the names. I'm surprised that you haven't dated a woman named Martha. Because I thought you had the lot on all the old names, but Martha, and she's what, 26?
I'm gonna start taking this as disrespect.
No. I mean, you just like women with old names.
I happen to meet women with old names.
But why do they all come to you is what I'm wondering.
I don't like it.
You've never called me and been like a girl with like a ghetto name. You never get those. It's always like, I'm talking to Marianne. I'm like, what? Gloria called me today. I'm like, what? Dolores is one of the people in my family. So Martha, that is what Gail, exactly. Martha.
Gail, we just talk on the phone. Okay, listen.
Come on with Martha. What did you think of Edison as your bald head? I've never heard of a black Martha either, especially a young Martha. Like, who decided my little girl is beautiful? I'm gonna name her Martha.
Denzel Washington's wife, and what's her name was He's Got Game was named Martha. Anyway, Um, here's the thing. Martha, her energy, I think it calmed down as the day went, but her energy at first coming out, she had the fan. Pow!
Do they know? Have you shared your perspective on the fans?
Yeah, they could go and check that out. But you know, the dress, the garb, it was African garb, so they were making a connection visually. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. She didn't have to explain the outfit to him. He got it culturally. So she thought she was a shoe-in, or that gave her an edge. And maybe it did for him. You know what I mean?
But do you think, let me ask you this. Marriott says people from that part of Nigeria give their kids granny names. That must be true, because that's a granny name. But let me ask you this. Do you think that it was the cultural connection that from the clothes, or do you think he was just physically attracted to her?
I think it was a little bit of both. I don't necessarily think she was the most attractive woman out of the four, but I do think she caught his eye, her build. It was a little combination of everything. And I think once he saw the outfit, he didn't have to ask. He knew, you know, it was automatic that he knew. And she had a beautiful smile, but her energy, even when she met the other women, that's when you saw the claws came out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. She came to be competitive. I would say that.
Yeah, and this is a game, so I don't, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is a competition. I think she softened up as she went on, but we don't know each other. So, and I know we're all here for this one man and I want to get him. So I wasn't even mad at that, but I understood that they had an issue with it.
Yeah. I think that she had an edge on the other girls because of the cultural connection. And I think, like DeQueezy said, she was dressed more classy. I think she understood that would resonate better with if there was, because I don't know, I'm not for sure if they know that a guardian or parent is going to be there right then. They got to know something, because they tell you something when you go to casting. But I think that she knew that if I'm competing, I need to score with. Why are you laughing?
No, because I'm trying to think what the girls said, especially Lexi. They was like, so. She was like, so you would wear that like at a wedding, right?
Yeah.
This is where the shade comes in.
Yeah, I did agree with them, because I know I've been to some Nigerian weddings,
right? And
that is how they dress. Or I've been to a Nigerian wedding and a Nigerian bridal shower, like for some type of costumed event.
Right. Big,
yeah.
Right. Celebration.
Yeah. So I think they were just being, you know, I know they were surprised when she came in, but I think that they got to know something. I feel like, because when they do casting, they'll say casting people to be in a show about blah, blah, blah. Now, you may not have all the details, but I feel like they had to know in some situation that they would be judged by a parent or guardian. I think so.
Okay.
Even though they might have been surprised when she came in like that. They dress like that for church at a formal church, though. Hold on. Michelle Smith has some tea for us. African mothers are complicated and haze potential suitors, especially those who don't understand the culture. So to that point, do you guys, I don't know if anybody is watching Family or Fiance, but there was a couple on Family or Fiance that one half was, the mother was the son, and the mother was African, and the mother went off on his bride-to-be because she did not fix the mother's plate. And she said that was disrespectful. And she went off, like off. She had a lot of bark, but not much bite. But she definitely went off on her and said that was disrespectful, because the woman is supposed to really, you know, show the utmost respect to the mother, which I could get. But I feel like that mother was going wild. Like, she was wilding out, because she was screaming. Like, I mean, like the girl had spoken, cursed at her, and all she did was not fix her plate. That was wild. And then she like I said, she had all this bark and no bite, and then she came down and was like, it was weird.
Tough, man. The mother thing is tough, especially if the mother's never been married.
Ooh. Or I would say if the mother has never been married, that's going to be rough. Or if the mother had a bitter divorce.
That part.
I'll be honest, and that doesn't have anything to do with culture. That's just
everybody. Right.
Everybody.
I didn't. Martha was, it started one way, but she didn't start it. The other girls were throwing shade, and she, whatever.
Well, I think they felt intimidated because they saw that there could have possibly been a cultural connection, and they were responding to that.
That makes sense.
That's what I think. I feel like anybody is looking to see who has one up on the other one, and they're trying to figure out how to, throw that person off or see that person as the threat. I think they definitely saw Martha as a threat. And then also, I would have just asked you this before we move on to Tamara's. The nurse profession, a lot of men see that, especially like in African families. It's a very traditional, job that's seen as successful. It's seen as a great wife job, like
it's
nurturing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I wonder, like, that probably gave her points because Tamaris with this news producer, I don't know. That's seen more as someone that's trying to be, it could be, but I feel like in African culture, they would probably appreciate the nurse position.
1,000%.
Yeah. All right. So what were your thoughts on Tamaris?
Tamara's White, 29 years old. She is the youngest. No, she's the second youngest. Martha's actually younger than her. That was my favorite.
Why was it your favorite?
I was how she dressed, everything, how she carried herself. I didn't think I didn't really see any red flags. She didn't have any kids. I was looking to see a red flag. Didn't really see it. She didn't really step into the cattiness, talking about Martha.
Mm-hmm.
But as we did go, it seemed like she lost interest more as it got closer to the episode. Like
she might have felt the corniness.
She was keeping something to herself. She had started to say something, and then she pulled back. And she want to wait. And I was like, there it is right there. That was the only thing that I seen. And
yeah. See, I felt like she was enchanted. I feel like she's a news producer. She knows how to present the right way. She knows how to say the right things. She knows, I agree with Queasy that she's very refined. I think she was sweet, but I think some of it we'll have to see because she's someone that understands the importance of presentation and appearing to be. Again, I think that these girls know that when you are competing with a man and you have a mother or guardian involved, it takes more than just looking good. You gotta look the part. You want to be the girl that he would want to take home to his mom. Right. So exactly, very poised. Which she has to be for her profession, and I think that people's profession tells a lot about their personality.
Absolutely. You see her, she checked herself.
Yes, exactly.
A couple times when she said Baltimore, she made sure she enunciated and said Baltimore, pro Baltimore. You know what I'm saying? She said that in the beginning. And then when they were at the table and it was the conversation of when she brought up sex, and then she say no disrespect or she, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
she knows she's presenting it the right way. I don't think, hey, you there so they didn't know. I think they knew, they had to know something like that just because of the nature of the casting. They're going to tell you something like that. They're going to say, this is
the title alone.
Yeah, the title. Well, they don't know the title when you sign up for casting. But I've shared actually casting alerts. They'll say we're shooting a show about people looking for their first love, or we're shooting a show where mothers are involved with some. And I remember that before they tell the casting agent, and the casting agent, I just can't imagine that those girls did not know that there was going to be a woman involved in some way. They might not have known they were going to be there right then, but they knew something. I don't believe that.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm just saying from past reality shows and what I've experienced, it's like they'll ask, do you want to be on a show where this is the situation? And then you can decide. Now, you may not know how it's rolled out, because they want to get some realistic surprise or whatever. And then they also do fake surprise. So let's don't forget that some of that they could be told, okay, they're going to be, and then that, some of it is unscripted, scripted,
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. So the last young lady is Chambrio.
I hate that name. Ooh. That is the most, like, you know what? I'm gonna do something different. I ain't gonna call it Gabrielle. I'm gonna call, man, we don't get your dumb ass.
Well, she can't help it, but she's a real estate broker.
From Connecticut, 32 years old. I ain't gonna lie. I thought she would have been the first to go.
Well, a lot of people said that. I was watching Twitter. A lot of people said that.
She knew who it was. Look, I saw her face. She knew she was going. She thought she was going. She knew. And booty shorts. You have half of your ass cheeks out. Even if you didn't know the mother was there, why would you think that's presentable? This is the OWN network. This ain't Zeus.
First of all, as we have learned, the OWN network. First of all, everybody on Rated Love had their booty cheeks out in Philly.
But you're a larger woman. I don't know. It was just a lot.
I feel like the producers be playing in our faces.
I believe that.
And I feel like they want to get a reaction from the audience.
I believe that.
Unfortunately, I do feel like that because it just, yeah. I
know why the aunt kept her around though.
Why did Omar keep her around? I can't stand you. Why did Omar keep her around, Mo?
Because she had the makings of cooking arms. I seen that. I seen the potential.
Are you suggesting that Omar wants her to cook?
I mean, you want your nephew or / son or whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna dwell on that too long. But I'll be honest with you. I thought she thought she was going.
I think she did too. I think they're playing in our face. I don't like it. But I don't think Omar. I think that she was partial to the other girl. I don't think she.
Who?
I thought she was partial to Martha.
I think that was the what do you call it? The thing to flip us around.
Yeah. Marriott says, were the arms that big? No. But Mo said he saw the potential.
Anyway, for her to be that young, she only, good gracious, she only well, not 32. That's what kind of start. Yeah. Anyway, they on time. Anyway, I thought she was going to keep her around because it was, to me, it was either her or Lexi, and the fact that both of them stayed is crazy. But
it's also for TV. It's for TV.
That part.
It's for TV. It's not. So overall, his interaction with the ladies, I just get that he's excited to be there. He's happy to have women to pick from. He probably doesn't. I mean, maybe he does have these, because I've been seeing this a different generation. He could have his choice of women, but I doubt he's ever been. If if he plays football in his group, he's probably not that one.
Here's the thing. Number one, what football? Because football in Africa is soccer.
It is.
So that part, and then what guy, like, that's reserved for the guys that are retired.
But it says he's an NFL free agent, so that means it's American football.
He got a team. He's floating around trying to figure it out. That's why
a bad place to be.
But to me, I'm not convinced that it seems like he was, I don't want to say forcing himself. It just seems like,
I think he's trying to be the man. I know when I dated a guy that was a free agent, and he ended up not finding a team, and then he ended up being a police officer, and he was really not happy because he was still trying to be the man. That's got to be a huge. So I think this show, I think he's trying to be. It's all about the image. I don't believe that I just don't believe this is serious at all for him.
I don't either, and I need at least 1 to 2 more episodes to really, because at this point I don't believe him.
No, I don't believe him. I don't believe him.
I don't believe.
And I think Omar is here to have a good time and to turn up, like that lady that went over to Dubai.
Yeah, she's back in New York making the rounds, and
yeah, she reminds like she feels like I feel like she would hang out with her. She is also bleached.
Right. That's it. Thank you. I believe the aunt is bleached. I just see between the eye. I think she got some stuff done.
She wants to be. This is a great opportunity to be on TV on the Oprah Winfrey Network, which everybody on OWN says. And it's a check and some publicity.
Look how wide the aunt's nose is in that light skin. I don't believe it.
First of all, the color of the nose,
and
the diameter do not always correlate.
But the fact that he is his complexion, I want to see the mama. I just know that's a fad now.
They do. No, they do. And I can see that she sometimes. I think what you're trying to say is that the color is off and does not look 100% authentic.
Not something is off with the color.
Yeah. That's so sad though. I always wonder, like, why is it like that? Because I've seen, and I'm sure most of our viewers and you have seen, there's so many documentaries that prove that it's not vitiligo, it's not a Michael Jackson. We're not going to do that.
Famous Dominican baseball player. Look up.
Sammy, yes.
See what I'm saying?
He looked like, why did he think it was okay to show up like that? Why did he do? I could not believe he actually showed up. Like, dude, we know, we've seen you.
It's a few.
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah, I can see that. The light skin. Toya says she favored the light skinned girl with 2 kids. Auntie was bleaching and favored the light skinned girl with 2 kids.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Colonization was powerful, but it's not just African Americans. It's every race treats fairer skin the best, and it's so many other races. But for Africa for there to be so many situations like that in Africa, I remember Black China was promoting a bleaching cream.
I do remember that.
Crazy, man. Crazy. And she just went over there to get a check. She don't care about what it says or the mint. But that damages your skin. That's so hurtful and sad that's still something that we deal with. We've had a lot of conversations on colorism on this channel.
Really know this is alleged, but that's the first thing that came to mind, because something is off about the color. It's something,
or it could be bad makeup.
It ain't that much bad makeup about it. I was trying to look for the discoloration. Maybe she had
Yeah.
bows or something. I was trying to see.
I'm just saying, because you remember when Spice did that thing where she colored herself, made it look like she had been bleaching and really was just bad makeup.
Yeah, yeah.
And she was trying to prove a point, which we didn't get at all. Yeah. But I hate that. It's definitely opens up a conversation. I feel I just that's just horrible, that continues to be a problem in our communities. It is. Yeah, Marriott says many African nations were colonized for a century. Colorism is the result, and it's crazy that even in other countries, China, Japan, like fair skin is always the preferred and revered and considered elite, and even actually in whenever I can quote a Denzel Washington, bring a Denzel Washington movie into the conversation, I will. But in Gladiator, I looked up like why the two princes, the two sons of the emperor, the twins had those powder faces, and they were like, because in the Roman Empire, the fair skin was considered elite, so they would keep them out of the sun and bleach their skin lighter, powder their to where they looked pale. The more pale you were, the more elite you were.
That's crazy. It's like that in several Puerto Rico.
But I mean, but Rome?
Rome?
That's wild. The Roman Empire praised fair skin.
That is crazy.
Yeah, Nola says my light-skinned daughter loves my chocolate complexion. My daughter is very fair-skinned and will not even think of dating someone that is not extremely dark brown. Like, she loves darker skinned guys and loves dark. She doesn't see color, but I told her a lot of people would. She's had girls tell her that they wish they were her color, even at this age. Yeah,
he got past that after the night.
Well, we can't and I don't want to go too far off the beaten path, but I did a conversation with some high school girls. How many song lyrics mention skin color?
Yeah.
And it's so many song lyrics in rap, hip hop, and R&B where a girl is praised for being red bone and yellow, all these type of things. So that causes that causes the disconnect. Michelle Smith says South Korea, UAE, both countries I lived in the UAE, when you walk into a store, they would offer folks like me cream to fix my skin. Wow. I would laugh in their face. That's crazy. Asian countries scare me. Asian countries scare me. I had a dear friend I work with that was trying to get me to visit China, and I was like, no. I just, Asian people, I don't think are very big. They're not really African American friendly, I don't think, overall.
But when you see some of the videos that are Black people, because they never seen a lot of.
They are in awe of us like a commodity, though, like a something to be a commodity, not like as a person.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know what I mean? Almost like something that's not real.
Gotcha.
I hope that we can, little conversations like this in our wonderful chat. These conversations, we just need to teach our young women, because I think it's different with women than it is with men, that all their shades of brown are beautiful. All the colors are beautiful, whether they are, vanilla or dark chocolate or whatever. Make a point of telling your daughters how beautiful they are. Make a point of also telling them how smart they are. Don't just say beautiful, because then you have a lot of girls that have no substance. But make a point of going out of your way to compliment her beautiful skin tone, whatever that is, and teaching her how to take care of it. One of the things I can say, my mom was very fair skinned compared to me. And my mom was really big on skin care and making sure that you took care of your skin and, making sure that you had lotion on and creams and masks and all kinds of things. And I remember when I looked, at my skin after I was taking care of it, because I had acne really bad, when I was in middle school. after I saw what my face looked like when it was taken care of, I loved it so much more. So I think just really imparting that into our young women, because what they hear in the street is one thing, but what they're taught at home, I think, is most important.
Yeah.
Druzy says, please clarify how it's different for men. I will, from my perspective, and then I'll let Mo answer to this. I feel like when I was growing up, and we've come a long way from that, but there's still some of the residue from that, that fair-skinned women were considered beautiful and darker-skinned men. And so the proof of that is in, like, you look at a show like The Cosby Show. So you have Denise and Sandra, who were biracial, really, you know what I mean, as the children of two brown-skinned African Americans. Vanessa and Rudy were brown, but still, you have these two Denise was considered like the most beautiful girl, and they were very, very fair-skinned. You have Theo, who is darker. There's been studies that prove that television shows would choose lighter-skinned daughters. My Wife and Kids is one, that the daughter looked biracial, son did not. When you looked at television, you looked at the movies, the heroine, the beautiful, sexy woman was always considered the Halle Berry, the lighter skin, and then the leading man could be darker brown, like Wesley Snipes, you know, and Halle Berry, like that's it. Denzel Washington, most beautiful black man ever, brown, you know. And if you ask people who the most beautiful black woman, a lot of people would say Halle Berry, but she's actually a biracial woman, not a African. I think biracial is not the same as African American. I think those are two different. It's black. I don't think you're black if you're biracial. You're biracial. And it's unfortunate that they have to pick one. But yes, so we would see a very fair-skinned woman with curly natural hair and make her the child. And then you have this darker-skinned boy, and that's fine. Darker-skinned guy. It just doesn't make sense. You know, leading women were always fair-skinned women, but not men, you know. And it almost went opposite because they started a narrative that a lighter-skinned man was weaker, you know, and not masculine, you know. So I think that's why I said Denzel was the most beautiful when in Rome. I said it, and I will say it again. He was, and then actually, I didn't just say it, because also People magazine agreed with me, because he was named the sexiest man alive during a year. Hold on, let me pull up that year.
30 years ago.
That's not the point, Mo. That's not the point. You can't take that title away from him. It was in 1996. It was in 1996, but the point is, it happened, and it was decided that he was the sexiest man in America. Yes, People magazine, Denzel Washington, 1996, when I was in my heyday. He was the first African American man to receive that title. Do you guys want me to pull up photos and images? Because I can do that. When in Rome. I'm just saying. Just saying. What movie do you think Denzel looked the best in?
Oh,
well, this is a wonderful topic. I would say Mo Better Blues or Devil in a Blue Dress. But I'm open to the conversation. Yeah. Mo?
Okay. You made a lot of good points on the color thing. Yes, we do not hold up women of a darker complexion enough, and they are talented women, and they are beautiful women. Tika Sumpter, for one, I think is gorgeous. But we don't
look out with her daughter, because she's actually married to a Caucasian man.
Right, but see, that's where it starts to turn, right? Because then it's like, okay, you see,
yes, Mississippi Masala. You're right. I was wrong. So sorry.
You finished? Finish with the Denzel portion?
I'm finished. I'm just, but yes, Mississippi Masala is. I remember a certain scene. Yes.
But we don't hold women up like that, and you know, she has everything that other than the complexion, then we would see. But then with the plot when things turn around is that she would marry someone that's white. So then it's like, well, Dad, we were trying to push you up there, and
well, but you know why? If
then,
we can be honest,
yeah, please.
I feel like the reason that a lot of darker skinned women end up marrying white men is because, yes, DeQueasy, is because when they're younger, there are so many times that they hear from Black men, she's pretty to be dark skinned. That's not what they hear from white men. They just hear, gosh, she's gorgeous.
Great point. Or,
oh, I'm a soldier story.
So to pick up babies, they seem to pick up the other one first, talk to them, and you're a cute baby. Oh, you're so good. And then the other one, they just compliment the outfit. I seen it.
You're right. Soldier story. The tear. Because they have me. I just forgot about the Mighty Quinn. Yes.
Playing on Plymouth Rock. Come on, man. We get it. He's a handsome man. We get it. In the 90s.
No, not just a handsome man.
Oh, Lord.
Not just a handsome man. It's the prototype.
But we turn around with the men and we'll put the Denzels up. I mean, not pardon me. I see you saying we'll put the Wesley Snipes up. We'll put the Tyson Bedfords up. Like it becomes more. It becomes this the dark skin becomes more masculine.
The dark skin becomes more masculine. It does. It does. It's unfortunate, and it really is a part of just pitting us against each other and making us. You know, it's unfortunate that because there's no such thing. Whew, yes, Ricochet. There's no such thing as a I can't even talk. A color making a man more or less masculine. We don't need to see Tyson Beckford no more.
But the light skin
get off the list.
At some point they had, because it decades it changes. It goes back and forth, right? Right now you're all liking Aaron.
Kofi Siriboe. My daughter is obsessed with Kofi Siriboe.
See? But the women are liking the Aaron dude.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Of the month now with the ladies. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, he is the flavor of the month. Mufasa.
There you go. And I'm glad y'all got a new dude because y'all was hanging on for the same Morris Chestnuts for a long time. And it's not that for a long time, but I was just, y'all gonna get another dude, and this dude been around 30 years, more than that.
Yeah, Morris is 50-something.
Right.
He's holding.
Nah, and listen, congratulations to the brother. He's still starring in roles in television, all this. I just think that women don't judge as bad as men do, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah, women are not as hard. Boris Kojo, I feel you. Good for you, girl.
Ask you this, and we talked about like most of these guys have mothers, right? Obviously, and they grow up with their mothers in the household, but it could be a lot of what they see in their experience, other than what they see times their experience. You know what I mean?
What do you mean as far as in relation to what?
Into relation to what they prefer to deal with. Now,
well, that's a problem to me because a lot of these men don't come from fair,
no,
biracial women.
And I'm not saying it's right, but for what I heard, I'm not into the color thing other than I like women of color. But what I'm saying is if your son, you seen what was behind the curtain. It ain't like when your mother came to wake you up, she was done up. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You seen, when it was just this.
No, you didn't.
And
no, you didn't show a struggle. You did not refer to a struggle ponytail. And thank you, When in Rome. She says, I know Mo ain't talking because Holly Berry name been in the pot for 30 years. That's true. She was the most beautiful woman forever. Still.
We have revolving doors of different women. We didn't hold.
Holly Berry had it for years. Decades.
She had the 90s, but after the 90s, we was on to something else.
No, y'all weren't. She had 2000s too.
With Nia Long, she had to still share that with.
It was never the same as Holly Berry.
Yeah, I mean, she started off the 90s. Sorry. But it's just, I think they see that and they see the difference, and they didn't want to have to deal with this is what I hear. And then the other thing is, I hate getting all into it. It's how some women carry themselves, and they just didn't want to deal with that.
Well, that's not fair, though. I mean, we won't go into that. That's another show for another time, but that's not really fair, because I don't think we're charging some of these men with the same thing.
Y'all could.
Consumer O says, "I rebuke you in the name of Holly Berry, Mo." See, your people gonna come for you.
Listen, man, she started off the 90s, but by the time we got through it,
she did not, because her biggest movies was during the 2000s. Huh?
She started off, we can go to Jungle Fever. Listen, I did a whole thing of the 5 top women, if you don't remember, of the 90s, and she was number one. She started, but you still forgot about the Jada was in the 90s. Nia Long was in the 90s, started off the 90s. We didn't just land on Mary, and she capitalized off the 90s. But once we got to 2000, it was other women.
But as DeQueasy said, the darker actresses have complained about them favoring Holly and lighter women, because Holly Berry was considered the most beautiful Black woman forever, like for a long time.
It was, but once we started to get hit to what was going on in her life, and we kind of got a little turned off. We'd be like, no, it's her. We didn't make excuses for her.
We never got the memo.
We didn't make excuses. We moved on.
Yeah, we didn't get the memo. Maybe did some of your people. Not Clifton Davis back in the day. Rhonda, ma'am. Mom's met him in the face. I will say my mother had a crush on Billy D. Williams, right?
So did my stepmother.
And I remember, so my mom would always tell me, she would tell me that Denzel had nothing on Billy D. Williams. So I went to DC for an event, and I met Billy D. Williams. And I'm not gonna lie, I had to call my mama and tell her she was right. That man, that was a good looking man. As in the words of Jennifer Lewis, that's a good looking man. I mean, he was suave and smooth. Man, still to this day.
Tells it all. Mahogany. What, man? Listen.
That voice, yes. But I was just like, how is he still having this energy in his 80s? But he was. I'm not going to ride with Clifton Davis on you on that. I'm not going to be able to ride. I'm going to I'm going to get off right here, Rhonda. I'm not going to ride with you with the Clifton Davis, but hey, if your mother met him and fainted, good for her. But never heard that one. Nor Howard Rollins. Nope, not going to do it.
Who put that on there?
Philip Michael. When in Rome, don't you take me back to Miami Vice. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. That man, I had never seen anything like that in my life. I remember being a small girl, never, ever seen it. I was just like, oh, where did he come? That's a whole nother, we didn't talk about Miami Vice was that. Whoa, my God. I started to feel things.
Let me tell you something. When I met Michael Thomas, he was dealing with Dionne Warwick. He was dating.
You met Philip Michael Thomas?
Yeah.
You never told me that.
It never came up.
Why not? It should have.
I don't.
That was my first crush ever. I would watch Miami Vice just to see him. Don Johnson was a cute white boy too.
He was doing music, and I knew a producer that worked with him, but he was
How
dating.
Did you never tell me this?
It never came up. But
Michael Thomas?
He was dating Dionne Warwick, who was older than him, by the way. But
he must have needed some money. Leave the shirt open with the curly hair. Philip Michael Thomas, girl. You just done started something up here tonight.
It's just
Hey, he can do whatever he wanted. That curly afro,
he got
that man,
like him. That's in his 40s right now.
huh?
He got son that look just like him. That's
His son does not look just like him. Let me tell you that. He's an attractive young man, but he don't look like his daddy.
No.
He don't look just like his daddy. No, he don't. That man was once, and that doesn't happen very often. Now, no, Dion was being a sugar mama, I believe.
Possibly.
She definitely got the funds. Sparkle turned him on, but that Miami Vice, whew, I had never seen anything like that. I remember looking like I could not look away from the TV. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. Praise him. Okay, let's just end this tonight because this is going.
Yeah, come on, man.
I can't because Miami Vice, I'm just going back to because God, I mean, that was like a life-changing experience. Yeah. You don't feel like Pam Grier was life-changing for you?
No, I was too young to get it then. It didn't kick in until
How old were you?
I was like 7 years. No, I just saw something. It just woke something up in me. Like,
that's what we're saying. Miami Vice woke something up in us.
Yeah, but I wasn't like, I was just looking at beauty. It wasn't a sexual thing. It was just like, wow, and then it got old. When I got older and rewatched it, then I got what my uncle and fathers and them were looking at. I didn't get the grown women thing or the women thing until Janet Jackson on Different Strokes when she was Charlene. That's when fireworks went off.
Well, good for you. She was adorable then. But yes, man, Philip Michael Thomas was a man. That was a whole different. See how I'm rubbing my leg.
And how many years older than you? You was too young to be thinking like that.
I was. I wasn't even trying to. I literally. That's how I started having different type of thoughts. I was too. I knew something was different about this. Because before that, I had like a crush on Alfonso Ribeiro. I saw Philip Michael Thomas. I was like,
on Silver Spoons or something?
Yeah, Silver Spoons, indeed. Yeah.
But see, as a young man,
he was the Michael Jackson.
And I just thought she was pretty. When I watched it again in my teens, I was like, damn, she got some big stuff.
No, I remember thinking, I didn't know what sexy, I didn't know the word sexy, but that's what I felt. That man was not just fun. Anyway, he does still look good. He has a beautiful face. He has all white hair, but that man, that man is special. That man was special. He was special.
God bless that brother, man.
God bless him. God bless him. I had a friend that had a really big crush on Ty-Mac. Y'all remember Ty-Mac?
A lot of women did. Last Dragon, a lot of women did.
Jesus Christ. Praise God for his goodness and his mercy. All right, we got to get out of here because it's a work night. We got to get out of here on a Thursday. We just got one more day, Friday. We'll be back tomorrow, back to back.
A lot of people don't got to work tomorrow. It's Good Friday.
Oh, tomorrow is Good Friday. Okay, so I don't feel bad because we're up late on a Thursday night.
Good.
So tomorrow we're back with more Never Ever Mets foolishness and folly with the Never Ever Mets back to back. I like when we do that. I had an amazing conversation with Tashira Simmons. We could not film it because some tea got spilled, but I'm going to share with you all the tea. I'm going to share the tea since you guys are still here on a Thursday night. So Tashira's given a conversation about, we did a Q&A, fireside chat, and I asked her about women that, how does it feel to be with a man that women are, have this obsession with and have they're like a sex, like a sex symbol, and how did that feel? And she said that, as women, average women and celebrity women, all women were going crazy over DMX because quiet as kept. I don't know if people remember. Those of you that are young may not remember, but DMX was like the biggest thing on the planet for a short period of time. He was in movies, he was doing music, he was like a pop star, right? He had crossed over. He was doing stuff with Jackie Chan, and it was just big. But she said that she walked into a room, and it was when Aaliyah requested him to be in that movie with her. Aaliyah wanted him. It was her opportunity. She requested DMX. And Tashira said she walked into the room and she could see some type of energy between Aaliyah and X. And he kind of like seemed uncomfortable. And she said that she was like, uh-oh. You know, when your man is like, a girl is up on your man and your man don't want, he sees you and the girl don't, and he kind of is acting like trying to push her off. So he was straightened up. Aaliyah, then when Aaliyah saw her, she backed off and she was like, oh, hey. And so she believes that there was something that happened between he and Aaliyah. If you all remember, he did a version of that, We're Missing You. He did the intro to that for Aaliyah when she passed away.
Right.
But yeah, that was a little tea that spilled. She also said that they had an amazing, obviously love. They had an amazing sex life, amazing love life, just period. They were soulmates, but you know, obviously a lot of trauma and toxicity, but also a lot of love. Yeah, DeQueasy says, sorry, y'all, but Aaliyah kind of got around.
Hey, I've been saying that for years. You know, we checked a lot of people around her, but the common denominator was her, and no one ever, and I don't know if it's because of her passing, but no one ever.
No, I think she was presented as this innocent girl because, again, she was fair-skinned. Yeah. And had this look of being innocent. And she was also not really shapely, so she didn't have that like grown woman body. But what's interesting is that she did date two best friends, industry friends, which is very odd. And no one has ever charged her with that.
Right. Right. They charged the guys, but never her.
And I believe it had to do with grooming, but once that situation, I think another thing is that they never did come out and officially say that was wrong, right? And I feel like that was a problem. But her dealing with both Dame and Jay had nothing to do with R. Kelly.
Right.
And X while he was married. Just saying, allegedly, that's just some tea that was dropped. But the way that Tashira shared it, I believe her.
Yeah.
And she has a point. She says, unfortunately, sometimes abuse manifests in promiscuity. Very true. Very true. We're not, I mean, she's passed on, God rest the dead, for both of them. Both of them have passed on. But Tashira's book is amazing. It is titled Dying to Self. It's a powerful, powerful book. Talks a lot about her relationship and just how she was able to get through some things, you know, losing him, raising her children, new steps in life. Beautiful sister. Definitely pick that up. And I'll be dropping some more clips throughout the week from that conversation. But thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight, understanding that I needed to be gone yesterday. And we'll be back tomorrow.
Tomorrow, y'all, 10 o'clock.
Tomorrow, 10 o'clock, never ever met. We'll see you guys then. Have a great night. Finish strong. Finish this week strong. Make this the best Friday ever. It's a good Friday. If you don't have to work, enjoy the day. Get you some good food. And we will see you all at 10 o'clock tomorrow. Right here. All right. We love y'all. XO.
Gotcha.